Okay, this is very interesting spot. Very good. Okay, now I have a question because we don't have pocket eights now. We have 8, 9. Okay, who's gonna be a volunteer for my question answer torturing? First guy to raise your hand wins. Okay, I think Adam was actually first. Since it's his hand, I'll let him have it. Adam.
Yeah.
Okay, Adam, you're having 8, 9 here. What's your play on the turn?
To bet again, because as you explained in the previous hand, the king's a good scare card.
Mm-hmm.
We still have a decent gut shot. We don't have overs, which is a bit of a downside, but it's a good scare card on the turn.
Uh-huh. Very, very good. You got it. Something else to keep in mind is that we do have not we with the 8, 9 on this turn. We might have overcards, as weird as it sounds, because you should look at like what is his flop calling range, and that definitely is 7x, right? I mean, it's 7x, Jack X, and random bullshit, but it's definitely 7x as well. So yeah, sure. Ideally, we hope that when we have 8, 9, that he will fold that 7x on the turn, but we don't know. I mean, just in case, even if he calls, we have kind of okay-ish equity. Okay, with pocket eights, that's a really close spot. I mean, the 8, 9, that was a very interesting thing because we talked about it. So I hope you understand that that's like the brilliant spot that I was actually, my made up hand is not as good as this one here. If we have 8, 9, right? Now with pocket eights, it's a bit more difficult. While the king is a blank, you guys need to understand that. You should not pee in your pants because, oh, it's a king. Okay? If anything, it should scare him more than it should scare you. So it's completely blank. If he calls with like king 5, well, if he calls with king 5, he's also calling with ace 5 and queen 5. So really, this is not a scare card. It has zero connection to the board, right? So what do we do here with pocket eights? That's a close one because it's harder to get value from a 7. We do not need to bluff. A jack is definitely not folding, so there's no value in us bluffing. So what we need to consider here is how often, we check behind the turn. How often is a villain going to bluff the river? And I happen to believe maybe not that often. At least I hope. We never know. So I would make it really dependent on his fold to c bet. If he has a fold to c bet of like 30, we can just bet here. I mean, let's say below 40. Yeah, anything below 40, we would bet like half pot on the turn. Again, sizing is so important. Yeah, this is what Adam messed up mostly. Sizing. You don't need to bet that big. Your goal, because you understand your goal. You want to get value from 7x and not get bluffed on the river. I mean, it's kind of like it's a fancy terms. You're in a way block betting. You're betting for free showdown at the same time. Many bets have multiple purposes. But it's very close. If you check, it's not the end of the world. You risk getting bluffed on the river, but that doesn't mean your opponent is always bluffing. So you could even check here because it's also not super drawy board. It's really not that dry. Like deuce 7 jack, it's kind of dry, so you could even check here. Okay, but the idea is not to think between bet or check, but like how much to bet. And a check is a bet of 0. Don't forget that. Bet turn. Let's see what you say. Balance to lose, not to bet again. La 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 la. I'm betting the turn to value any 7, any deuce. Again, if he has ace deuce, he's gonna call. Oh yeah. La 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 la. Okay, there you go. Well, you're witnessing him shit. Well, yeah, okay, good. I didn't know that, but that's good. There you see. And you witness him check call a6 on king 9-4. Of course, this is the shit I'm talking about. So against this guy, definitely bet half pot. And even your sizing, while it's too big, it's not a huge mistake, by the way. If villain was in the big blind, blah, 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 would we bet the turn against him when it's king x? No, we wouldn't. I think we should, partly for the same reason, but that's easier for us to bet the turn. Yes, it is. I mean, for that reason, if you bet the turn, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, value from light floats. You do have a point. Maybe if your opponent is a bigger station against a reg, even here, betting half pot could be fine. But like with eights, it's kind of thin. Because, I mean, you're definitely not making him fold jack x. is going to bet the river. Exactly, that's the point. Very good. I mean, your thought process is quite good. So yeah, you totally understood the situation, which is great. You totally got it. So that's the type of thoughts that go through you. And when you go into intermediate, it will become more like, well, I'll teach you the thought process and everything, and then what once you like get it, you actually do exactly what you're doing right now. You tell me, okay, this is pros, this is cons, and I believe at the end I decide for that reason.